We're jumping right into these Dollar Tree fall hacks. I'm starting with this wood frame with a heart cutout, and I'm going to turn it into a pumpkin. I printed this image from Cricut Design Space because I wanted to be sure the cutout would fit within the frame. I started with a square shape and adjusted the measurements to the size of the frame, found a pumpkin image, then set it to print and cut it out. Now you could just Google and try to size in your printer settings or add an image to a word processor and resize it there, but I was just being extra. And I just cut this out by hand to avoid dragging out my big machine. I then traced the design onto the wood after removing the frame tabs, and we are going to cut this out with a jigsaw and scroll cutting blade. Now, don't be nervous. If you've never used a jigsaw, check out my jigsaw basics video linked on the screen and stick around because I'll give you a no tool option in just a minute. The trick to getting a good cut here is going slow and steady and kind of backing out of the cut a tiny bit when you get to a curve and then going forward again so the wood doesn't bind the saw. You can kind of see the saw jumping a couple of times, and that is what is happening. So I'm also going from different directions and making some straight slit cuts to make the cut more manageable. And we're almost there. Here is the pumpkin after I sanded the edges, and I'm going to add this vintage looking fabric that's also from Dollar Tree. I just cut it to size and attached it to the back with hot glue. I used these mini wood cubes to make this a standing piece. I also just attached those with hot glue. And I didn't show this, but I used a paint pen to define the edges of the wood, which really makes that fabric pop. And we have this super cute fall sign. If you're still with me, give this video a like so I know to make more like this. Next, we're going to hack this wooden hanging decor piece in a similar way to the first project. For this one, I printed a leaf design the same way, and because there wasn't already a cutout in this wood piece, I started the cut by angling the jigsaw to create an opening where I could insert the blade and continue cutting. I did end up breaking the piece at the bottom of the wood because I didn't have enough support underneath. So if you try this, just add a thicker piece of wood under the Dollar Tree piece while cutting. And here is what we end up with. I am making this into a candle luminary. So I took this Dollar Tree flexible cutting mat and cut it to size, and I'm going to glue it to the back of the wood piece. But first I filled in those hanging holes with this Dollar Tree spackle, and I painted the wood with black chalk paint. Now to make this stand, I cut one of the Dollar Tree wood planks to size, and I used a combination of heavy duty glue and hot glue to attach it and that placemat cutout. And to finish this off, I use this metallic wax, which I am loving, to the edges of the wood and the base. And I love how this one turned out. It is super minimal and a unique piece for only a couple of dollars. Now here is that alternative I mentioned. Dollar Tree sells these wood plaques every season with the different cutouts. You could easily cut this with a craft knife right about here and glue it onto a base to get that same effect. Now this final wood hack is with this wood round. The Dollar Tree ones are really hard to come by, so this one is from Hobby Lobby, but they have the same look, and this one's just a bit smaller. I love using these to make door hangers, and I thought the top of this hanging sign from Dollar Tree would be perfect to add. So I used a utility knife to cut off the piece with just the pumpkins. Then I used a black paint pen to fill in the background because I didn't want that wood look. Now to tie in the black, I've marked off the bottom of the wood round and painted it with black chalk paint. And I had this leftover leopard print ribbon from a Valentine's craft I did and thought it would be a nice touch. So I cut pieces and glued them in the center of the wood round just using hot glue. Then I glued that sign piece to the top, again using the heavy duty glue and hot glue for a permanent hold. Now, of course, we have to add some embellishments, and these are all from Dollar Tree. So this is a faux leather word that says thankful, some faux leather leaves, and a faux leather pumpkin right to the top. Dollar Tree has really stepped up the variety of items available, and I love that we can create something like this with mostly Dollar Tree products. Now go ahead and put a pumpkin or leaf emoji in the comments if you enjoyed this video. And as always, thanks for watching. If you like these, watch these videos next.